Good morning. Caught between a rock and a hard place, or actually not that adverse, really. Just that there are pulls and pressures on the equity markets in the session today, but largely seem to be okay at the start. Let's first talk of the key news flow. Welcome to the Trade Server right here on BQ Prime. Of course, I'm Neeraj Shah. The global news flow: China's announced military exercise opposite Taiwan after warning Nancy Pelosi not to scrap plans to visit Taiwan. But of course, in Nancy Pelosi's Asia agenda, there is no mention of Taiwan as yet. This is the big talking point, and it will stay a talking point for the next few days until this visit is over, I reckon. US incidentally has tightened the grip on exports of chip making gear to China. It seems like a Chinese trade setup, but it isn't, because the weekend data from China also indicated a surprise contraction in the factory activity, which would be negative for crude and iron ore, amongst others. And I think as a result of this data as well, there's a bit of a contraction in the US futures too. So keep that in mind. US markets did really well, and those will come up on your screen next. They did really well. So we had about 1.88% uptick for the NASDAQ. The Dow and the S&P had some gains as well. So a strong show out there for the US markets. And the other cues too, I mean, cryptocurrency is doing reasonably okay. Bitcoin and Ether, never mind what this morning's tick is. But if you just look at the other factors, I mean, they are doing okay. The dollar index is fine. The 10-year yield is okay. So no key surprises on the other data in terms of this, at least the last 48 odd hours. The SGX Nifty indicates a start of maybe about 40 odd points, if I'm not wrong. So we'll have a mildly positive start. So a bit of a continuation of where we left off from in Friday, and in light of the fact that the US markets were strong. So maybe that also aids our markets in the session today. What's the trade setup therefore for the day? I think so I don't need you don't need me to tell you that markets probably are still continuing to do okay and will be dependent on global markets. Not mentioning that, but I do think that this week both auto sales, PMI numbers, GST collection figures will all have a bearing on sentiment. We'll start auto sales today, but since at the start of the month, you will keep on seeing all of those things working out. It's imperative for private banks, I think, to start participating for the further leg up for the rally, because hitherto we've seen a rebound in IT. Some of the other stronger names are doing okay. Private banks aren't doing as well. Yes, we've seen some result reactions here and there, but nothing too dramatic. Think of it. Bajaj Finance post the surprise, and I'm not saying that therefore ICICI Bank should have done the same, but Bajaj Finance post a surprise, really strong uptick. Not the same luck for the private banks per se. ICICI Bank had a fairly strong quarter, but the stock fizzled out completely on the day of the results. So we are not seeing private banks really put in the yards behind them. Maybe they won't. Maybe they should do that for the markets to go up further from where we are right now. The week is peppered with consumption stock results and should keep the whole space excited. Remember, viewers, the whole of last week, and we can do it with this plate now, but the whole of last week, we've seen, or the last 2 weeks, we've seen a bunch of these consumption names come out with strong results and and the stocks getting excited. Westlife was a case in point. I think we've seen EIH a case in point. I mentioned this last week too. And this week, we have a bunch of those companies, and I think everybody will be watching out for those. Just before I get to the results today, their flows should be important too. So FIs, net bought about 1,046 crores, a small net sell number, almost flattish from the DIs. So the institutional flows looked okay for the whole of month of July as an aggregate, and especially for the last day of trading in the month of July, FIs net bought, which is actually a positive sign. What's to watch this week? OPEC's monthly meeting on Wednesday. Could there be a decision to hike output? Because if that happens, that will be a surprise. Remember, not the world is not factoring this, especially after Saudi Arabia's comments post Joe Biden, post there, and Joe Biden's fist pump. But really, that there's no great announcements on an output hike. If that comes, that's a bit of a surprise, and that could act negative for crude. US non-farm payroll data on Friday also becomes important, and results this week as well. Like I said, peppered with consumption names, but more importantly, from today's perspective, uh, no. I think the results. We first want to go to the results. So UPL, ITC amongst the larger names, and then stocks like Zomato, Escorts, Kubota, Varun Beverages, Alkyl Amines. These are the ones that everybody be watching out for in terms of results this week. So results today. More importantly, of course, ITC, but also Zomato, because it's been caught in the eye of a storm and therefore it needs to deliver good numbers, and Varun Beverages, which could actually come out with a good set of numbers. So watch out for those. The stocks to watch section. And before I come to results, let's talk about autos, because it's a strong month of auto sales expected for Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, M&M Auto, and Eicher Motors. So no, these four are separate. They are for the auto sale. Ignore alkylamines. I think we made a mistake there. But watch out for the auto sales numbers. For Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, M&M Auto, and Eicher Motors, it's a strong month anticipated, and therefore all of these would be in focus. Then Mahindra and Mahindra, Scorpio, and clocks in about 1 lakh bookings in under 30 minutes of bookings opening, and therefore Mahindra and Mahindra certainly will be in focus today. Watch out for Oberoi, Godrej Properties, Man Infra, maybe even a Prestige, but these three Bombay-based developers, considering that Mumbai saw registrations of close to 11,340 units in the month of July, which is a 15% uptick both QOQ and YOY, and the Mumbai registrations are the best ever for July in the last 10 years. It's the best July in the last 10 years. Tells you a story or two about what could happen, or how strong our auto, or rather real estate sales in the month in the city of Mumbai. What am I doing? I'm having a bunch of tongue twisters today. But yeah, so watch out for Oberoi, Godrej, as well as Man Infra, amongst other stocks, by the way. These are only symptomatic, I mean, symbolic. I'm not saying these are the only ones which will react, or these will necessarily react, but these are the ones having the predominant business in Mumbai, and therefore important to bring this out. Star Health came out with numbers. I thought it was a strong performance and therefore deserved highlighting. So Motilal Oswal has come out with a note post the numbers. They have a buy with a revised fair value of 850. They remain optimistic about the overall prospects for Star Health. A strong growth in retail health given its under penetration, healthy earnings growth led by normalization in the claims ratio, and healthy ROE profile, 15 to 17% over the medium term. The numbers were not bad either, viewers. So therefore, watch out for Star Health. The numbers for Bank of Baroda looked okay too. NII up 12% at 8838 crores versus 7897 crores. PAT up at 2168 crores versus 1208 crores. Gross NPAs were the lowest in last 27 quarters. Credit costs the lowest in 28 quarters. And annualized slippage ratio declined to 2.07 versus 2.83. I think they clocked in a lot of, or they punched in a lot of right data out there. BOB. Morgan Stanley's note on BOB was interesting. Overweight rating with the target price of 155 from 140. Q1 earnings were 5% above estimates, led by lower credit costs. NII was 1% above, led by volume growth. Core PPOP, according to Morgan Stanley, was 2% below, owing to lower fees. But the coverage is strong at 76%, CET1 ratio at 11.6%, and Morgan Stanley expects ROA of 0.75 to 0.8 in FY23 and 24. Now, whether that happens or no, I don't know. But essentially, this quarter numbers were good. So watch out for BOB. CLS also raised the target price. Morgan Stanley raised the target price. The numbers seem okay. Maybe BOB could be maybe a decent stock to watch out for today. DLF has put in some rally behind it last week, so keep that at the back of your mind. But the Q1 numbers seem okay, you would have to say. So revenues up 26% at 1444 versus 1459. EBITDA up 5% at 413. The Bloomberg estimates for 535. EBITDA margin actually lower because the net and as a result of that, the net profit up 39%, yes, but lower than the Bloomberg estimates of 569 crores. So the numbers a bit to be desired. The highlights: new sales bookings of 2,000 crores were down about 25% QOQ, in line with guidance though. Management reiterated new sales guidance of 8,000 crores for FY23. And they said that the REIT can be launched in 6 to 8 months depending on macroeconomic conditions. I think this is something that maybe the management didn't say, but brokerages are saying. So do watch out for DLF. The numbers compared to Bloomberg estimates were lower. Some other people are saying that the numbers were better than estimated. I think I would observe the consensus which is brought out by the Bloomberg terminal, and compared to those estimates, the numbers were lower, and the stock has put on a bit of a rally behind it already last week. So I would suspect that maybe there could be a bit of a corrective move here. Cholamandalam Investment, the numbers looked okay. Revenues up 12%, net profit up 71%. Maybe this stock has a positive reaction. Metro Brands, revenues up 26%. EBITDA up 41% for Metro Brands at 182 crores versus 129. EBITDA margin 36% versus 32%, and the net profit up 52% at 104 versus 68 crores. Here I'm taking QOQ specifically because the last quarter would have been so severely impacted with the COVID wave, as there was no point in talking about why the numbers would have looked healthy any which ways. But I think QOQ as well, the numbers have looked very strong. Yes, granted, there was the Omicron wave, but not as severe as the last year's Delta wave. And therefore QOQ a more pertinent comparison, and they've done well. By the way, everything which is benefiting from opening up has done well. I've not given graphics for Ease My Trip planners, but that was a very strong set of numbers with sales up about 42% QOQ and up 179% YOY, or EBITDA up 41% QOQ or 133% YOY, or for that matter, Mahindra Holidays, revenge tourism of sorts working out there, or Rain Industries, which had a top-down beat, or the paper companies like Andhra Paper and JK Paper, which are very strong quarter. So all of these, Rain, Great Eastern Shipping, Ease My Trip Planners, Mahindra Holidays, JK Paper, Andhra Paper, strong numbers, viewers, and may react in the session today. So do watch out for those. Inline quarter for Cipla and Torrent Pharma. No great shakes here, but yeah, maybe the stocks have a bit of a reaction. Maybe Torrent does. Do watch out for those. I think the BFSI numbers were interesting too. The likes of IDFC First or Indian Bank or DCB, wherein on a lot of counts, these stocks tick the right boxes. So maybe some of these react. And some result analysis for some small cap names. Grindwell Norton, it was a strong performance led by the ceramics business, and EBITDA margins expanded. Or Neil Kamal, which had a strong quarter for margins and expanded both QOQ and YY, the margins that is. Godrej Agrovet, which had a iffy quarter, the lower margin in animal feed and the crop protection business, which hurt the earnings. Or Care Ratings, which is optically numbers seemed okay, but one-off lower expense due to ESOP cost reversal boosted the EBITDA. Otherwise, a bit shaky really. So let's wait and watch. Some analyst calls include a United Breweries and an Exide, wherein United Breweries has been cut to neutral at JPMorgan. Price target 1700. Exide has been raised to overweight at JPMorgan with a price target of 215 rupees per share. In fact, JPM says that there was a strong Q1 print, and there is increasing news flow on EV battery manufacturing, all of which could actually aid Exide numbers as well. So therefore, do watch out for this one too in the session. Net, a bunch of result reactions which you may act positively this week as a clutch of these consumption names. Devyani, Varun, some hotel names like Lemon Tree, all of which could actually deliver a good quarter. So do watch out for those earnings as well. If the market stays okay, these stocks might do well. Today, the likes of Great Eastern Shipping, the paper companies might all be okay. Bank of Baroda might actually deliver. Let's wait and watch. I do think DLF could have a slightly iffy time, so do watch out for that one. And watch out because of the Chinese contraction numbers. Maybe things like iron ore companies, lead companies might have a bit of a reaction. Though, from what I read on the terminal, a Bloomberg terminal that is, zinc has actually gained because of supply concerns, and therefore Hindustan Zinc might actually have a decent outing today. So do watch out for that one as well. Thanks so much for tuning in, viewers. Have a great Monday. Watch out for auto sales as they start trickling in, and have a great week ahead.